All right, so today the Hunter Biden has been indicted on federal gun charges, which is like feeding you small potatoes so that you don't get access to a full meal, because these are some of the only charges that are not correlated at all with his father. So they're breaking under the pressure of the American public and they're trying to do something to shut you the fuck up. They're doing exactly the wrong things and they're ignoring the real problems. The real problems are the financial situations, the communication situations. I could give two fucks about guns. In fact, let Hunter have a gun. I don't give a shit. What I care about is Joe's involvement in his bullshit. And to say that he can have a son like that, that kind of a piece of shit, and he's clean as a whistle, you got to be smoking crack yourself to fucking believe that. That's the biggest fucking load of fucking horse shit. I'm sorry. We're trying to keep it family friendly, and I'm just a little bit irritated at the moment because all this stuff is coming out, what we've been waiting for. And it's just another example. It's the same as 40 billion to Ukraine and $700 to U.S. citizens. It's the same as Dwayne the Rock Johnson and Oprah coming on the internet and begging poor people for money. We're not middle class anymore. We're fucking poor. You go to the grocery store, you walk out of there, $300 bill. Is your I'm sorry, a few years ago it was 100 to 200. Has my income doubled and I didn't fucking know about it? At the same time, it seems like everything's roughly twice as expensive. I mean, what's gas? What was gas before 2020? Dollar or something? Now it's in the threes. Groceries, same. I mean, $8 for a carton of eggs. Are you? Ah, man, there needs to be some big change here. We need to vote all of them out. I keep saying this. The whole system is corrupt. And you can see it because they didn't hesitate to prosecute Donald Trump. The indictment was forthcoming. But they get uncomfortable when anyone who's part of the group is facing charges. They circle the wagons, and I'm not just talking about the goddamn Democrats. The Republicans are complicit too. And, I'm not the biggest fan of Matt Gaetz, but, like, at the same time, he's asking, hey, Republicans have had control of the Senate for several months now, almost a year. Where are the indictments for Hunter? Where's the investigation? I mean, they literally started investigating Trump the day he took office. Anyway, let's start listening to other people talk about this so I'm not just rambling on and start to unpack all this crap because there is a lot to unpack here.
But Congressman, why not subpoena him and have him testify on Capitol Hill? Even if he doesn't say anything, that's going to be uncomfortable for the president to have his son testifying on the Hill.
Right. Well, when I announced the investigation early on, I said we're going to follow the money. And Hunter Biden's more than welcome to come in front of the committee. If he wants to clear his good name, if he wants to come and say, these weren't 20 shell companies, they actually did something. He's invited today. We will drop everything.
Yeah, but he's not going to volunteer to do that. We both know that. But if you subpoena him, he then has to.
Well, he can fight the subpoena in court. It's very difficult. I think if it were easy to get a president or their son in front of a House committee, the January 6th committee probably would have done that with Donald Trump.
No, good point. Although son's different. Everyone always says Hunter Biden's a private citizen. So it's not like you're subpoenaing Joe Biden right now.
Private citizen, but what we found in the last few weeks is he was communicating back and forth with the government about Ukrainian policy, which is a huge problem for Joe Biden. Look,
but Congressman, why not subpoena him and have him testify on Capitol Hill? Even if he doesn't say anything, that's going to be uncomfortable for the president to have his son testifying on the Hill.
Just do it.
Right. Well, when I announced the investigation early on, I said we're going to follow the money. And Hunter Biden's more than welcome to come in front of the committee. If he wants to clear his good name, if he wants to come and say, these weren't 20.
Oh, sorry. I'm letting this play again. I'm like, what? We're already listening to this. Anyway, we have gotten this. They were backpedaling, but again, the gun charges are just it's a band-aid, it's not the real meat and potatoes. It's the appetizer. The gun charges are largely irrelevant. I mean, he needs to go down for the things he actually did wrong, not just a gun charge.
And Kristen, Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
Once you
None
became
of that
vice president,
is true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but, I mean, Trump was right.
Trump was right. Wow. I never thought I would ever hear those words said about Donald Trump on the mainstream media.
CNN.
This is unbelievable. Those are words that have never been said about Trump from the moment he declared his run for president, throughout his 4 years as president, and through these first 3 years of Joe Biden's presidency. Not once was something like this said about Trump being right on the mainstream media. Something is up. I don't know what it is, but something is definitely up when a statement like this is being made about Trump and Joe Biden's lies are being discussed openly on CNN of all places. They even went so far as to go dig up videos of that lie when he said that lie during the campaign. No. Something is definitely up. Probably Joe Biden's ride is over. If CNN is saying things like this about Joe Biden, you have to suspect that his time is up, and they're probably thinking about replacing him. But they said Trump is right. I still can't get over that. I still cannot get over that. That is like seeing a unicorn on the mainstream media talking about Trump being right. What are they going to say next? Wow. Just wow.
So I think he's right. I think he is. What my guess is, they're trying to again feed us a little crumb so you don't get the whole plate of food. We want the whole plate of food. We know that there's all kinds of stuff in that laptop. That the laptop that now Hunter Biden has filed a lawsuit about. First, they were trying to deny its existence. They had 50 intelligence agents sign and say that the laptop was fake. And that turned out to be fake, evidenced by the lawsuit. I mean, Ashley Biden's daughter, I have a video about that too. Joe Biden, his daughter, Ashley Biden, her diary talks about some really, like, you think Hunter's a mess. His daughter is just as big of a mess. And I mean, I feel bad for them. But when you raise people in a corrupt household where there's no fucking rules and depravity is encouraged, why would you not have depraved liars for children who have drug problems and indulgence problems because you didn't teach them any virtue or discipline or morals? This is what they're trying to do to the whole fucking country. Do you want everybody in the country to be behaving like fucking Hunter Biden? Is that a good culture? You want your kids around Hunter Biden? Smoking crack, trafficking children, allegedly? We'll see. Hopefully the truth is going to come out. We've got people on the case, we're going to get there. FBI agents coming forward confirming to the Judiciary Committee that David Weiss's authority was limited. Here's the article. Second FBI official who appeared before House Judiciary Committee on Monday testifies that now special counsel David Weiss had to go through other processes to charge Hunter Biden after U.S. attorneys in Washington, D.C. and California allegedly blocked him from bringing charges against Joe Biden or against Biden last year. Hunter. The revelation came in a 180-page transcript obtained by the Washington Examiner of an interview with a committee conducted with the assistant special agent in charge of FBI's Baltimore field office. The agent was accompanied during the interview by a Department of Justice lawyer and an FBI lawyer, according to the transcript. Asked by the committee about Weiss's charging authority at the time of a key October 7, 2022 meeting, the agent said, "I'm aware that obviously charging discussions were happening, and yes, there was a difference in the venue for some of those charges. I remember learning at some point in the investigation that Mr. Weiss would have to go through other processes because the U.S. Attorney's offices had, I guess, in that sense, using that terminology, wasn't going to partner," she said in reference to the Washington, D.C. and Central California offices. So, seems like they're actively resisting cooperation. These agencies that's their function is to charge people with illegal crimes. And I mean, if you or I had done anything bad, let alone what he's done, we would be holding on to the soap for dear life in federal prison right now. However, the same rules don't seem to apply to everyone at the current juncture, which is a huge problem. The rules have to be fair and understandable for society to function. As soon as people see that the rules are not fair, then they certainly can't understand them. And they lose complete faith in them. And that's the gateway drug to the dissolution of a nation, or at least their government. Yeah, here we go. Matt Gaetz was raising questions as to why in the 8 months since Republicans have taken control of the House, there hasn't been any subpoenas of Hunter Biden or any other members of the Biden family. So, again, uniparty, don't deceive yourself and think that the money that funds the campaigns on the left does not also print and fund the red candidates that you think are so great. These Republicans that are supposed to be the counterparty to all this corruption have taken no action. When Donald Trump was in office, they were investigating, starting impeachment votes. Like, there was action happening. And with Joe Biden, it's like everybody's just backed into a corner, just, oh, nobody move. Everybody just stay still. Don't do anything. And that's bullshit. So clearly, don't deceive yourself. This is a uniparty situation. It is money. It is the rich versus everyone else. That's it. There's no Republican and Democrat. They're all funded by the same people. The only way to get ideals, true ideals, not identity politics, but ideals back in office is to remove the money, because money corrupts ideals to the point where it just becomes about money, and the ideals are just a facade. It's just bullshit. And the cracks are forming, and you're starting to see that. If you're paying attention, please fucking pay attention. Please care. This is your country. This is your children's future. This is the future of our country. You're going to have to, do a lot more shit. If you don't just do a little bit right now, it's going to get a lot worse, and there's going to be a lot more work to be done to fix this. Or you can just run away. I don't know what, you can just, I guess, move to another country and just say, fuck America. But I don't think we're at that point yet. If people will just stand up and stop going along with a whole bunch of agendas that are not good for anybody, except for those who are leading the charge. Okay, and then this is another representative. So this back here was Rep. Jim Jordan, who was talking about he was posting this article. This is another representative, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Probably butchered that, but whatever. Don't spell your name a million different ways, and maybe people could pronounce them. You know what I mean? I don't know. The evidence keeps flowing. The Naval Observatory meeting is far from an illusion of access that has full-blown access and participation by then Vice President Joe Biden. So much evidence. Text, emails, WhatsApp. And there was that other guy, forget his name, but he has the corresponding phones that were being texted. He came out and gave these like right around the election. This was 4 years ago, and nothing was done with his submission of evidence either. China, 8.1 million. Ukraine, 6.5 million. Kazakhstan, 142,000. Romania, 3.1 million. Russia, 3.5 million. We're going to get in. There's a huge evidence dump. Huge. There's a nonprofit that's been compiling charges and sorting through all the data on those laptops. Hunter Biden meeting with associates at VP Mansion underscores role father played wooing clients. At a 2015 meeting with VP Joe Biden, with VP Biden and son Hunter's client being wooed for Burisma deal, involved discussion about influencing UN Secretary General race. One of many meetings that dispel the Democrat narrative here of an illusion of access. Adorned by the Queen Anne era of grand architecture and tightly guarded by Secret Service agents, the 9,000 square foot Vice President mansion on the U.S. Naval Observatory grounds is rarely accessible to everyday Americans. But Hunter Biden, as the son of sitting vice president, was able to score the sort of VIP meeting inside the mansion that most lobbyists could only dream of. There in 2015, the future first son delivered FaceTime between then Vice President Joe Biden, his fellow business partner and Burisma board member Devin Archer, and an international banker they were courting for business in Kazakhstan. The meeting, recently divulged by Archer in a congressional testimony, and that's another thing, you gotta watch for him to be killed. Because that's how they operate. They kill people in plain sight, and everybody thinks it's just a conspiracy or whatever bullshit you want to call it to make it, like, not real. But people dying, people hanging from an extension cord from a tree that's associated with the Clintons with a shotgun wound to the back of the head, that's called a suicide. I'd love to see a recreation of that. Let's do a Forensic Files episode on that, and show me how someone hangs themselves with an extension cord and blows the back of their head off with a shotgun. Well, I mean, blows the front of their face off because you're shooting from the back. So, yeah, so bullshit. Is one of the meeting, recently divulged by Archer in congressional testimony, is one of several that Hunter Biden arranged that delivered direct access for business partners to his powerful father. Some occurred on phone calls, other at the swanky Cafe Milano restaurant in D.C., but this one in the personal residence of the vice president, taking on more significance for House investigators for the specificity of the conversation and the secretive nature of the gathering. The official entry logs released by the Obama administration do not show businessman banker Mark Holtzman, Archer, or Hunter Biden attending together at the Naval Observatory in 2015. But Archer confirmed the meeting occurred and detailed the nature of the conversation. Holtzman wanted to advocate for former Kazakh Prime Minister Karim Mazumov, today imprisoned in his country on treason charges, to become the next United Nations Secretary General. Hunter Biden and Archer hoped that Holtzman, then the top official at Kazakhstan's largest bank, could deliver an energy deal for their Burisma client in Ukraine with Kazakhstan. Joe Biden was in a position to influence both. It was like a UN-related conversation, Archer told congressional investigators about the Naval Observatory breakfast. Who was present? He was asked. A gentleman named Mark Holtzman, myself, Hunter, and the vice president, he answered. What was the discussion about? Investigators pressed. It was about who's going to be the next UN Secretary General. Mark Holtzman was lobbying for Karim Mazumov, but it was, obviously, that didn't happen. Okay, this is a very long article. I will link those two articles. And then let's get into this was reposted. Yep. So this person who is a absolutely on point, is saying these federal gun charges against Hunter Biden are a distraction for the sake of accountability. It's bullshit. These charges are the lowest hanging fruit. They don't want to go get the big shit. This is the fifth generation warfare. This is fifth generation warfare to take your eyes off the bigger issues: money laundering, influence peddling, bribery, laptop content. Absolutely. You nailed it.
To you.
All right, Bill Malugin, thank you. Well, it was highly anticipated, and now it has happened. The federal government has just filed an indictment against Hunter Biden on that gun charge. Our Justice correspondent David Spunt has got the latest from the DOJ. David?
Hey, John and Sandra, 4 pages here. Hunter Biden, Robert Hunter Biden, indicted by the U.S. Attorney, or in this case, Special Counsel David Weiss, based in Wilmington, Delaware. As you mentioned, we knew this was somewhat going to come because his office said it would happen before September 29th. We have 3 counts in this indictment. This is related to the purchase of that gun. Remember, back in 2018, we've been reporting on it for several years. Hunter Biden made a false statement. This indictment alleges made several false statements about the gun charge or about purchasing a federal firearm. He said that he was not addicted to drugs.
10 years, 5.
Oh.
10 years.
Okay, I'm looking at Jake Gibson, our producer, is reading to me right now. The maximum penalty would be 10 years of imprisonment for count 1, which is a false statement. So let me go ahead and read through this, but just to kind of summarize things here, this is only relating to Hunter Biden making false statements on a federal gun form that he was not addicted to narcotics when he had in his possession in Delaware a gun for just over a week back in 2018. John Sandra, this is not related to the tax cases involving Hunter Biden or any other potential charges.
Yep.
The special counsel said those charges relating to his taxes or lack thereof paying taxes could be brought in another district outside of Delaware. John Sandra?
Yeah.
They better fucking bring those charges. This is
To you.
All right, Bill Malugin, thank you.
trash. Yep. This person is also Rep. Andy Biggs. Is also seeing Hunter Biden indictment on federal gun charges as a move to make you think that the DOJ is fair. Don't fall for it. They're trying to protect him from way more serious charges coming his way. I'm not the only one that's saying this. People are clearly seeing that they're ignoring the fucking laptop content and going after this fucking little tiny non-issue. No one fucking cares. We want the truth about the real shit, his dealings with his father that they've both been fucking lying about. He's worth $230 million, and he's been unemployed and a drug addict most of his life. How the fuck do you think that happened? Are you willing to just believe complete nonsense with no evidence? There's no explanation. There's no logical explanation. If you've got one, leave it in the comments below. How would he make $230 million if he wasn't leveraging his father's influence? You tell me. What's he got? What's his resume? You know? What, drugs and hookers and crack pipes and a life of indulgence and luxury and shitbaggery? Is that worth $230 million? Does that make sense? Why is Pelosi's husband worth hundreds of millions too? You know, there's a lot more than just Joe Biden that needs to be looked into. And that's the other thing. Even if they charge Hunter, it doesn't alleviate all the other corruption. This is why they all need to be voted out. And if they're not, then you're just taking care of you got 100 leaks in the dam. You put your finger and plug one. What's that going to do? You still got 99 problems, but a chain one.
All right, last question.
Congressman Issa came out and said that both Chairman Jordan and Comer were not able to present anything that was an impeachable offense at this point. Is that an assessment that you share?
You know, impeachment inquiry is not impeachment. So what impeachment inquiry is to do is to get answers to questions. Are you concerned about all the stuff that was just recently learned? Do you have any concern? Have you asked the White House any questions?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree that, do you believe the president lied to the American public when he said he'd never talked to his son about business dealings?
Yes.
Yes or no? It's all right. You can't answer that?
Yes.
Do you believe
See, the media
when they
is
said
fucking
the president
complicit, man.
went on conference calls? Do you believe that happened?
Won't even answer.
Okay. Do you believe the president went to Cafe Milano and had dinner with the clients of Hunter Biden, who believes he got those clients because he was selling the brand? Okay. Do you believe Hunter Biden, when you saw the video of him driving a Porsche, that he got $143,000 to buy that Porsche the next day? Do you believe the $3 million from the Russian oligarch that was transferred to the shell companies that the Bidens
3.5.
controlled after the dinner from Cafe Milano took place? Okay, then I go back. Do you think the president lied that when he said
an impeachable is lying and impeachable?
Well, you want to know. I'm not saying impeachment. All I'm saying is I would like to know answers to these questions. The American public would like to know, and that's what impeachment inquiry provides.
Goddamn right we want answers. Thank you. Kevin McCarthy, what a stud. We will be...
All right, last question.
Congressman Issa came out and said that both...
Let's get him. There we go. Boom. Okay, so here is... Let's see, make sure. Yeah. Here is the Hunter Biden lawsuit about the laptop that never fucking existed. Hunter files a lawsuit against Trump aide that exposed his evil ass. He committed the crimes. He's just simply a whistleblower. So... Yes, it's the very same laptop that 51 former intelligence officials claimed displayed all the typical signs of Russian information operation. This is like, man, Russia is the biggest scapegoat. Russia is like, Hitler had the Jews that he used as a scapegoat, and America is using the Russians to blame everything. The Russians and Donald Trump are the scapegoats of everything that goes wrong. It's either Russians or Trump. And they're in collusion. Even though that's been fucking disproven too. They're so full of shit. Meanwhile, we interfere with elections left and right. But that's justified because we're doing it for the greater good, which is code for fucking evil shit. But people fall for it, you know. The greater good? Oh, good. Oh, we're going to do it for the greater good. You know, like, I think we've lost the ability to think critically or something. Because people just hear stuff and they just spit it back out. You know, they're like, oh, I heard something earlier. I didn't think about it at all, but I'm going to say it again to all my friends. We're doing it for the greater good. We're going in, we're getting rid of, you know, this evil person because they're bad, and we're going to supplant them with some other person that we put into power, and everything's going to be good. The local people are going to be so happy that we came in and installed leadership for them. They're going to love it. That's why Iraqis and Afghanis and everybody receives us so warmly. Oh, America, thank God you're here. We were so dirt poor and ass backwards until you got here. Thank you for fucking blowing up everything that we've got and then rebuilding it and profiteering and funneling money through our country, because it's all just a money churn. You need to churn to make money. That's how the economy works. So the factory needs to do their production churn. The war machine needs to do their destruction churn. You know, it's all just fucking, it's just a washing machine. It just goes around, and you can't stop the washing machine because then you go in a recession. You got to keep that just going, you know. Let's invade another country. Let's have another war. You know, we can't stop. We can't stop. We'd have to lay off the military. We can't stop. We'd have to, the defense contractors that are all tooled up to produce X amount of missiles and tanks and fighter jets. Oh man, if we slowed down, they detool that. We need that infrastructure to just be slamming out more military equipment to go murder more. There's 600,000 people dead, last I checked, in the Ukraine conflict. And people are over here celebrating, oh, we're punishing Putin. Yeah, at the expense of 600,000 lives. You're only celebrating because it's not your own kids. You wouldn't be very happy if 600,000 Americans were dead, but you don't give a shit about foreigners. Not you. The people who are celebrating. Apologize. I want to be more specific. I don't want to insult people that aren't being assholes. The 13-page lawsuit alleges that Ziegler and others violated federal and California privacy laws by accessing, tampering, and manipulating, altering, copying, and damaging computer data gathered from Hunter Biden's purported laptop and iPhone cloud storage without consent. The lawsuit details how Ziegler and unnamed defendants allegedly obtained sensitive materials by hacking into encrypted data on Hunter Biden's devices and uploading them to Ziegler's website, where it remains public. In the lawsuit, Hunter Biden's lawyers assert that the defendants have refused to cease their unlawful activity and return private data belonging to the president's son. In response, Ziegler told CBS News, I nor the nonprofit Marco Polo, and we're going to look at the source documents in just a minute. We got some other things to go through, but we're going to get there, I promise. I nor the nonprofit Marco Polo have been served with a lawsuit, but the one I read this morning out of Central District of California should embarrass Winston & Strawn LLP. It's not worth the paper it's written on. Adding, apart from the numerous state and federal laws and regulations which protects authors like me in the publishing that Marco Polo does, it's not lost on us that Joe's son filed this SLAP, S-L-A-P-P, one day after so-called impeachment inquiry into his father was announced. The president's son is a disgrace to our great nation. There's a meme that I saw of Dr. Evil yelling, impeachment, and then Frau Farbissina was like, laptop! Oh, shit. Earlier this year, Hunter Biden filed a lawsuit against Delaware-based computer repairman named John Paul Mac Isaac. It was with Mac Isaac that Hunter left behind his now well-known laptop, the contents which have been a focal point in several congressional hearings. He signed a document that said if he abandoned his property, he forfeited it. So it's all illegal. He walked away. Did too many drugs, forgot he left 3 laptops with this guy, and forfeited his property. And now is admitting that it was indeed his property, confirming the lies that they told during the 2020 election. No accountability for that either, by the way. There were people afterwards who found out the veracity of the laptop claims and the bullshit that the intelligence agents said it's all Russian disinformation. Well, there were people that regretted their vote based on the fact that the laptop proved to be a real piece of evidence. But we can't go back, you know what I mean? That's their attitude. Listen, that happened in 2020. It's so long ago. The statute of limitations is closed. Just forget about it and go fuck yourself. Thanks, you know? That's how we're treated, because we have no money, because we can't donate to their campaign. Boy, if you got money, you get invited to the VP's mansion, you know.
And by the way, this thing about a gun, I didn't know anything about it, but turns out that when he made my application to purchase
the media's been fucking reporting on this since at least 2018.
A gun. What happened was I guess you get asked, you get asked the question, are you on drugs, you use drugs? He said no. And he wrote about saying no in his book. So I have great confidence in my son. And by the way, this thing about a gun, I didn't know anything about it, but turns out that when
he's just so full of shit. All right, this is only 4 minutes.
Get into this in great specificity and detail, and I just had Marjorie Taylor Greene on, very complimentary of you, does not agree with where you're taking this, which would be a motion to vacate. Why, if Jim, are you not happy with Jim Jordan and James Comer's handling of their respective investigations? For example, the House Oversight Committee, that's Comer's committee, investigating the Biden family syndicate. The Judiciary Committee, Jordan's committee, are investigating how the FBI and DOJ have been weaponized, and politicized, and now, of course, we have the impeachment inquiry announcement today. Both things, by the way, Jordan and Comer have been asking Speaker McCarthy to do, which they have now done, and he laid out the reasons why. Are you not happy with the speed of this or the progress of this?
I am not happy with the speed of this. Jim Jordan and James Comer have done great work, but they've been handcuffed worse than David Weiss, the Delaware U.S. attorney who wasn't able to take action against Hunter Biden. I believe if Jim Jordan and
Well, let me slow you down. I've talked to both of them. They're happy with the progress that they've made, even though there's been, as you know, a lot of obfuscation, obstruction, lack of cooperation to get suspicious activity reports, the 1023 form, other information that has been necessary for their investigation.
then you tell me why we haven't sent a subpoena to Hunter Biden. I guess
no, I agree with you. Well,
is gone. Then you tell me why Hunter Biden hadn't gotten a subpoena, because there's no logical explanation for that.
James Comer announced that in the last week and a half that he's going to be subpoenaing the Biden family members. I agree with you.
How many times have politicians, not come through with that? Like, how many times did Lindsey Graham go on your program and say that he was going to be the chairman of the Judiciary Committee and he was going to call in Hunter Biden? Hunter Biden was going to be in the witness chair.
Let's stay focused on the House. I'm asking, do you not believe James Comer means it when he says he's now going to subpoena Biden family members? Because I'm pretty convinced that he's going to do so.
It's been 8 months, Sean. I love Jamie Comer. I think he's a really smart guy, but there's no excuse for the 8 month delay. And you know what? Because they do fight them, because you do have to go to court sometimes, the 8 month delay that we've already self-inflicted on ourselves may turn out to be dispositive. They may get away with it, just like Hillary got away with it, because we spent our time fiddling like Nero as Rome burned. And
See, I tend to agree with you. I don't think there's any excuse at this point not to send out these subpoenas. I think the time has certainly come. And the next time I have James Comer on, I will ask him. However, it's taken them a while to get enough material to lead up and enough evidence and enough testimony, including Devin Archer's, to get to the point where they have really, really specific questions now for Hunter that they didn't have at the beginning of their investigation. You got to concede that point.
Then you bring him in again, Sean. They've made that argument to me. And
well, now's the time. I agree. They need to subpoena him. I would do it today.
Right. So there's that, but I don't want that I don't want to over torque just the oversight features of my grievance. It's also about the money and the spending. And you and I talk about this frequently. We promised individual single subject spending bills, and September 30th didn't move on the calendar. It didn't appear on a new day this year. We knew it was coming, and we didn't get ready to have the programmatic review of how this government weaponizes and spends money. So now you got McCarthy and our folks in leadership wanting us to vote for a continuing resolution. And a continuing resolution funds Jack Smith's election interference. And any Republican that is willing to keep funding Jack Smith's election interference isn't worth their salt. And we ought to reject wholeheartedly any effort at a continuing resolution of the Biden government and Jack Smith.
The uniparty. I mean, you got certain people like him that are saying where the hell are the indictments, and then you got a whole lot of silence. And so the people, I mean, it's crazy, right? You have people online today that are exposing the fact that they're, by talking about minor attracted person, you don't have to do an investigation to find out that this person has some views that, could lead to illegal activity that is precluded under current law. And they're talking about it. So you've got people talking on the internet, making videos, incriminating themselves. And then you have, in the Senate, people incriminating themselves by not speaking. So if the Donald Trump indictments go forward and no one stands up to say what the hell's going on, why are we just indicting one person when there's more corruption, then anyone who's not standing up and saying anything, they should be voted out. This is what I say, just vote all incumbents out, just across the board. Just send a message. Let's refresh the government. Let's start over. Let's get rid of all these people. If you can't tell who's good and who's bad, then you just need to get rid of everything. Same thing with the fruit in your fridge. If you can't tell what's good, one bad thing is going to make everything go bad. So you need to just, if it all looks rotten, it's all gone. And I would love to save some of it, but it all looks rotten to me. At least anybody who's not saying anything, anyone who's not being like, hey, there seem to be some pretty substantial issues here. There's multiple laptops full of data. There's a nonprofit that's going through and compiling all this stuff. Pretty easy for us to just take a look at this. Like, let's have someone investigate this. We spent millions of dollars on the Comey investigation of Trump. Can we spare a little bit of money? And I know we certainly can, because we just sent another $6 billion to Ukraine, and then we did another $6 billion for a prisoner transfer, which is insane. We're just spending billions like it's nothing. Billions are no longer like even, doesn't even register. Oh yeah, billions? Here you go. You want billions. You get billions. You get billions. You get billions. What are we, fucking Oprah? Watch Rep. James Comer for yourself. He's making excuses not to subpoena Hunter Biden. Remember the hell Democrats put Don Jr. and Eric Trump through. If you don't believe Comer was a con man pulling a scam on the public, let me know if your opinion has changed after hearing him in his own words.
And have him testify on Capitol Hill, even if he doesn't say anything. That's going to be uncomfortable for the president to have his son testifying on the Hill.
Right. Well, when I announced.
Okay, this is a repost, but this Debbie, she gets it. They're all uniparty POS that don't care about America. This lady gets it too. You know, like, hello, there are people that are seeing this clearly. We're not all deceived. We are not all hypnotized or brainwashed or whatever is going on. The mass media is just being like, this is true, this is true, this is true, this is, and you're looking, you're like, they're like, the sky's green, sky's green, sky's green. Looks blue to me, sky's green, you know, and people are like falling, they're like, oh, actually it is, wow, it's green. Never even noticed that. It matches the trees. Holy shit. It's so cool that the news told me something that I don't know. I thought it was blue, you know? That's how, I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, this person is pretty smart too. I'm not making excuses, but part of the reason they can't do a thorough investigation, it would take down the whole government. This cover-up is huge and spans nearly every government agency, including and especially intel and foreign policy. Everything the Democrats do is not good. Yeah. Wow. And then, here we go. This is the Marco Polo organization. And let's just go through their feed because they have some really great stuff highlighted right here. This is their... oh no, this isn't pinned. This is just reposted. So this is one of the pieces that they got off here. Held by H for the big guy, you know? Like, pretty clear what that indicates. And then... to be clear, Hunter Biden is not saying Marco Polo publicized false information. On the contrary, the lawsuit verifies the legitimacy of Marco Polo's database. Tens of thousands of emails, hundreds, thousands of photos, dozens of videos and recordings that belong to Hunter. $128,000 emails from the Biden laptop, which is a modern Rosetta Stone of white and blue-collar crime under the patina of the Delaware Way. Prior to the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, a number of ancient languages were mere gibberish and hash marks. Similarly, the emails on the Biden laptop illuminated previously convoluted webs of the people you could see leading the charge for global governance. Truly, the emails can be considered a translation tool for open-source intelligence gathering. So this unlocks and cracks the code to what's really going on behind the scenes if it is properly investigated, because this could be a glimpse behind the closed doors where no one ever sees. The secret operations, the way things actually work, where money dictates action. Here you go. Here's $1 billion. Oh, thank you. I will go do work for you now and do the thing that you asked me to do. Thank you for that $1 billion. I'll see you later. And as far as we see from the outside, it's just like, oh, we're politicians doing political things and making deals, and there's no exchange of money going on here. We're just doing the right things because we're good. No, that is not what's happening. Senator John Kennedy slams Hunter Biden. At best, he's a sleazebag. At worst, he's a thief. Charlie Kirk, breaking. The DOJ has indicted Hunter Biden on federal firearms charges. That's a small improvement on previous kid gloves sweetheart deal, which tried to give Hunter a pass on crime any MAGA supporter would get a decade in prison for. But what about Hunter's unregistered foreign lobbying? What about the money laundering, with Hunter passing on half of his massive oligarch payoffs directly to his dad? What about his human trafficking of prostitutes across state lines? My son did nothing wrong, Joe Biden, so he's going to come out swinging about this, isn't he? No, he's done. That's why these charges were filed. Now that they know that the dude can't win, never has. Yeah, small potatoes, given what serious criminal charges they could be bringing against him. They're throwing Mega a bone to shut us up. One small step, I guess. Different state where if any charges will be fired, more will be revealed later. Jack Smith is currently scrambling to come up with extra indictments on Trump. That will be tomorrow. Wow, hilarious. Love it. All right, next. All right, so here's the infamous Joe talking about quid pro quo. He was over there flexing his authority and showing that he could impact whether or not they get loans by the wave of his magic wand. And not only did he enjoy having this power and wielding the $1 billion, but then he brags about it on camera.
I guess the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
All right, I guess.
This MFer on video boasting about his crime, and dumbass Republicans in Senate don't want to impeach him because they're afraid their own corruption will get exposed. We need to boycott voting for any Republican senator to teach them who they work for. What we have got to lose is they are complete cowards and worthless. Cowards, worthless, and stand for nothing but sending money to wars in order to get their cut. I don't agree with this. I think we got to vote all incumbents out. It's not a Republican or Democrat view. But he's correct in saying we need to vote against the people in office. It's again, don't get confused. This is how they protect themselves. They have two groups, and they're going to let you blame one and laud the other, or villainize one and turn the other one into the hero. Don't fall for that shit. They're both fucking waist deep in the muck, doing the same swampy bullshit that we were bitching about in 2020. Nothing's changed, and nothing will change as long as they remain in power. They have built this spider web. This is how it works. You start at the bottom, and you slowly rise up, and you get vetted, and you get controlled, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm a team player. I'll do what you say. Oh, well, then you're allowed to move up. Here's some more money. Campaign for this office, you know. Oh, okay, perfect. And they get slowly compromised and captured. They slowly understand the rules of the game. They form these alliances just like Survivor. They figure out how to make money behind the scenes, and then it just becomes all corruption. You cannot fix this by putting Donald Trump in office. Donald Trump cannot vote these people out. We, the voters, can vote these people out, and it is our responsibility to do so. We have been very neglectful of our responsibilities to be good stewards to this country and elect representatives that are not evil and are not going to drive this country into the ground. We've been doing a terrible job at this. The government is loaded with shitbags that have been financed into office. The red carpet's rolled out. Everything's made to look great about them. Campaign commercials are run, and it's all bullshit. They all get in. They all do the same things. They don't deliver. They don't care. They don't even identify with regular Americans because they become rich when they get in the door. The golden handcuffs go on. They lose the concept of ever having to worry about real American problems that a Main Street person in America, like a regular working person in America, has to worry about. And they just become completely disconnected. They become part of the ruling class, which is part of the rich, and they leave the rest of us behind. And because the whole system, the lobbying and the election systems are captured by money, the whole thing is just an extension of the fucking corporate structure. Republican, Democrat, it's all bullshit. Don't get confused. This is a psyop. And they don't want to indict anyone who's part of the team. They only want to indict Trump because he's external. Anybody who's internal, career politician, they all don't want to start this indictment game, because once you start pointing guns at each other, people are going to get shot. And everybody's... Not everybody, but a lot of them have some major problems. $317, Hunter admits laptop. $318, Trump indictment news. $6.8, FBI doc alleges Biden bribe. $6.9, Trump indicted. $7.26, Hunter plea deal collapses. $7.27, Trump indicted. $7.31, Devin Archer testifies. $8.1, Trump indicted. 9/12, impeachment inquiry announced. 9/13, both ET and Virginia House Dem Susan Gibson released public naked poses with their spouses. What? Oh man, this place is just turning into an absolute shit show. Okay, so let's see. Let's listen to this.
Tuesday, 12 September, in the year of our Lord 2023, I want to go to the war room and Congressman Matt Gaetz. We had a hostage video by Speaker McCarthy, and then one of the most powerful throwdowns of the gauntlet I think people have seen in living memory in the well of the House by Congressman Matt Gaetz. Congressman Gaetz, is the beginning of the impeachment inquiry? You clearly rattled McCarthy. They came back and they ran out and did this thing at 11 o'clock. Is that not good enough for you? Is that not going to buy him some time?
My goal is not to rattle Kevin McCarthy, but to motivate him to do what he said he was going to do during the speaker contest in January. And I think what I showcased today is that I was really serious about those commitments. I'm not willing to just let those go by the wayside like all the other Washington commitments that get made and broken in this town. That's why Kevin McCarthy fought so hard against the one-member motion to vacate, because he knew then that he would be held to account for those things that he had promised. Now, as for the inquiry itself, Steve, we could go back and watch the videos in January of this year when Kevin McCarthy was gaslighting the dickens out of an impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas. He'd run down there to Texas and say, boy, he was going to get that impeachment inquiry rolling on the border and on Mayorkas, and if any Republicans stood in his way, well, that would mean that they were an impediment to impeachment. So, one of the things I've learned watching the War Room is pattern recognition. So here's the pattern. Kevin McCarthy sees his power challenged. He gaslights an impeachment inquiry, and then the actual work goes undone. If we were serious about holding the Biden crime family to account, why have we not sent the first subpoena to Hunter Biden? Why have we not engaged in the vertically integrated subpoena strategy that I have laid out multiple times on the War Room? That you don't just go after the principal, you go after their assistant, their Uber driver, their emails, their internet service provider. That's what the January 6th committee did. Yeah. And I'm not too good to learn a little bit from some of their tactics, but we didn't deploy those tactics because what we saw was fundamentally unserious. Joe Biden deserves impeachment. And if Kevin McCarthy puts that on some protracted, wandering endeavor, then we will have to bring it into focus. But while impeachment is critically important for the rule of law and for fairness, I do not want to lose sight of the commitments that were made on spending. The only real way you attack the administrative state, it's not with press releases, and it's not with tweets, and it's not even with grandiose speeches. The way you attack the administrative state is to line by line tweeze through at a programmatic level the budgetary requests that come in. And if we did that with each individual agency and set weeks and months aside to do it, we would actually probably be shamed into putting the interests of the American people above the interests of the lobbyists and the political action committees who run this town and for far too long have run Kevin McCarthy.
You don't rely on human altruism to do this. You have to remove the money. He just admitted this is a guy who's being somewhat honest about how the town is being run, and he's admitting on camera that the system is captured by lobbying money and just money in general, and not representing the American public. He's saying that we could get shamed, that they could get shamed into doing the right thing. They should do the right thing because it's the only thing that motivates them, not money. And as long as the money exists and they have, do the right thing in one hand and money in the other, the money hand, oh man, that feels really good, that big stack of money. I mean, doing the right thing, that sounds good. But the money hand, that feels good. You know, the money in my hand, that's like tangible. This is just an ideal. You know, fuck it. I'll take the money. That's the problem. If you're addicted to drugs, if you're addicted to video games and you can't control yourself, you don't rely on self-control and you leave your addiction substance right in front of you. You remove your access to it. And these people in Washington who are addicted to money and addicted to corruption, we need to remove their access to it because that's the only way that you can stop their addiction to it. They're not going to just turn a new leaf over and become good people tomorrow because, the American people are getting pissed off. You know what? I'm going to change my ways. I'm a zebra, but I'm going to change my fucking stripes and become a llama. No, that doesn't work. They need to be voted out. We need to have new people in office because the people that are there are so compromised and so beyond even considering doing their job. They're just focused on how can I make as much money as possible. And then this is another great quote. It's a Trump quote. We'll read the whole thing. The gun charge is the only crime that Hunter Biden committed that does not implicate crooked Joe Biden. 1 down, 11 to go. The Democrats, with all their horrible, very unfair, and mostly illegal witch hunts, have started a process that is very dangerous for a country. They've opened proverbial Pandora's box, and it is possible that the USA will never be the same again. Yeah, if we just start doing legal fighting, everybody's getting charged because everybody's so corrupt that they're getting indicted left and right. I mean, how shitty is that going to be for America? Just incessant political. Now, instead of getting anything done, now they're going to be prosecuting each other and making themselves out to be like, I'm the good guy for prosecuting. Well, it's just whoever prosecutes the others first becomes like the hero, and then hopefully they can control the process enough so that they don't get investigated, because otherwise it just becomes a shit slinging contest where everybody winds up covered in shit. So, I don't know. So here we go. Here is the Marco Polo. This is a non-profit research group exposing corruption and blackmail. So they've got information on a whole bunch of different things, but the main thing is going to be this document that I will also include as a source link so that you can look through it, but it's got a very well laid out, everything, background, motive, timeline, 4 families, business-related crimes, subpoena, May 2019, suspicious activity, China, the Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Romania, Mexico, Serbia, Libya, unreported income and gift, backdating financial documents, United States v. Galanis, I'm not sure what that's about, sex-related crimes, prostitution and human trafficking, non-consensual pornography in the family, drug-related crimes, distribution and possession, operating motor vehicles, other narcotics-related crimes, influence peddling, selection 2020, legal accountability, non-federal jurisdiction, conclusion, what must happen next, endnotes. So this is a lot. This video is already getting kind of long. if you guys want, I'm going to put this in the link so you can read it, but if you want me to go through it and talk about it, just leave some comments down below and I will do a separate video, but I'm not going to drag you through this unless you want to be dragged through it, and I would love to read all this stuff and blast it out on a video that people can listen to, so just let me know. Oh, and then here's Schumer. Here is Schumer. So the first little quote is going to be him 9/25/2019 regarding the Trump indictment. The second one is going to be 9/12/2023, just 2 days ago. And so let's hear what he has to say about the same concept, impeachment.
Best interest of our country and our Constitution to proceed with an impeachment inquiry.
We should proceed.
I strongly support Speaker Pelosi's decision.
Yes.
I think the impeachment inquiry is absurd. The American people want us to do something that will make their lives better.
Yeah,
not
like
go
impeach
off
Joe
on
Biden and
these
find corruption.
Witch hunts.
Best interest of our country.
No, exactly. No. The witch hunt, right? You wanted to do the witch hunt. Now you don't. Now the witch hunt is stupid. Now that Joe Biden's in there. Yeah, the witch hunt is stupid now, you know? It's bullshit. Let's get rid of it. Boom. Get rid of them. Don't give them their coat. This guy, what's he got going on? What's his financial situation? What's his family? You know, like, I mean, anybody that is as recalcitrant to like, ooh, we shouldn't do this, guys. Ha ha ha. We don't want to put a hole in the dam. Right now, we're making a lot of money and doing a lot of fucked up shit. Don't fucking rock the boat. Do not rock the boat. Anybody that's behaving like this makes me very fucking suspicious. I'd love for them to be investigated. All of them. Or we could just vote them out. You know, I save the money, save the time, consider it compromised, vote them out, start over with new people, and let's try to build a new starting point that is not completely fucked beyond all fucking repair. Okay, so this is also an interesting development, right? You've got, how do I get rid of this? Okay, perfect. You've got an impeachment investigation going, and then you've got White House sending letter urging news outlets to ramp up scrutiny of Biden impeachment inquiry. So, okay, I think this is the memo. Oh, here's the memo. Yep. From Ian Sam, Special Assistant to the President and Senior Advisor and Spokesman for White House Counsel's Office, September 12th. Ari, it's time for the media to do more to scrutinize House Republicans on demonstrably false claims that they're basing impeachment stunt on. If Donald Trump released a document trying to control the media, there would be a thermonuclear mental meltdown on the left-hand side of this country. But this is receiving very poor coverage. Again, double standard. Clearly, you can see it. It's not any sort of mystery thing here. It is clear and visible. They're doing it right in front of your faces. And so after nearly 9 months of investigating, by the way, Comey investigated Trump for 3 to 4 years before releasing anything. So first point of order is that's dumb. Investigations take time, shitstain. After nearly 9 months of investigating, House Republicans haven't been able to turn up any evidence of the president doing anything wrong. Bullshit. But House Republicans, led by Marjorie Taylor Greene, are nonetheless opening a baseless impeachment inquiry of President Biden, despite many House Republicans openly admitting there's no evidence on which to support it. Impeachment is grave, rare, and historic. Well, we've impeached the last 2 presidents, so it's becoming less rare. Indictments are becoming less rare, because you're starting to see how fucking corrupt and shitty the operation, how rotten Washington, D.C. has become. Rich men north of Richmond. You wonder why that got such a fucking visceral response, because we all know that they're fucking pulling a bunch of bullshit, and there's no accountability. We can't hold him accountable. That's why we need to vote him out. That's our only way to hold them accountable. Otherwise, we're relying on them doing the right thing, or some sort of special count, or the Justice Department not being compromised and just going along with it, which is what they're doing. Up until very recently, no indictments against anyone except for Trump. Now we're seeing this little bullshit like, oh, here's a little one. Here, there you go. Here's a crumb. Fuck you. Yeah, are nonetheless opening a baseless impeachment inquiry of President Biden's, despite many House Republicans openly admitting there's no evidence on which to support it. Oh, okay, so that does not matter. There is evidence. I don't care if the uniparty is coming together, circling the wagons around Biden. There is evidence. I'm going to give the links, the full report on all the impeachment documents, and then the free media. Why is the White House issuing a memo to the media? Are they colluding? Is there collusion between the government and the media? Because that's actually against the Constitution. Boy, that's very interesting. Are they indicting themselves? Are they giving this is put forth by a lawyer, so I'm sure it's somehow legal. But how is this legal for the White House to give guidance to the media on how the fuck to cover the facts? Impeachment is grave, rare, and historic. The Constitution requires treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Both, but House Republicans are publicly stating they have uncovered none of these things. So yeah, the clear traitors are Ken Buck, Dave Joyce, Dusty Johnson, Don Bacon, French Hill, Mike Lawler, Chuck Edwards, Republican lawmaker that's unnamed, and a senior House Republican aide. CNN reported there's as many 30 House Republicans. Don't care. They're just part of the corruption. That proves nothing. People's opinion proves nothing. The laptop needs to be investigated. I don't care if all the Republicans say it's fine. That just means they're all eating from the same slop trough. So I'll include this too, because I think it's critical that we make sure that that things like this are not just ignored. You know, this is critical that that people are able to access this type of source information. Here it is. All right. And then this is another USA Today. This is an opinion piece. I'm not gonna even. I might spend just a minute on this. Journalism lesson from Biden. They're saying exactly the opposite of what they said about the Trump impeachments, that it was necessary and critical for the stability of our nation. And Trump was calling it a witch hunt. I mean, it's just like everything else, right? The citizens, half of them say this is right, and the other side is like, you're crazy, and then vice versa, back and forth. So we're very divided. We think the other side is completely wrong, all the way up to the top, because Democrats are like, this isn't needed, and they were saying impeachment of Donald Trump was critical to the survival of our democracy. And then on the other side, they're saying exactly the opposite of what they were saying. The Republicans are saying, we need to investigate Joe Biden, and the Democrats are like, you're crazy, he's never done anything wrong. Hunter's squeaky clean, and Joe's even cleaner than squeaky clean, because he's not even related to any of the stuff that Hunter's involved in. Trump was right. Russia collusion was a hoax after all that stuff. Perhaps the White House can't see the irony, but what it's accusing Republicans here of doing is exactly what Democrats did to Donald Trump throughout his presidency. Then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi set the precedent for how House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is handling the Biden impeachment inquiry. Democrats are melting down now that McCarthy is simply following Pelosi's playbook. The White House completely misses the mark on what it refers to as a disservice to the American public. It is not the media's coverage of the impeachment inquiry, rather it's the Biden administration attempt to manipulate the free press that should set off alarm bells. Yeah, 100% that should fucking set off some goddamn alarm bells. And I hope that I'm not the only one that is like kind of freaking out about the fact that now that the impeachment's coming out, the White House is trying to set guidance for the media. Like, it's not even in code. Can't you do this behind the scenes? Just call them in secret, like the old days when things were done, secretly. You're releasing a public memo that's fucking telling the media how to think. You're brainwashing the media with us to watch. We're watching it. Like, I cannot believe that this is public. That memo is public. And it's telling the media what the facts are. Like, well, listen, I know I'm the topic of the investigation, like, but I didn't do it. We're good, so just fuck off and stop covering it. Are you fucking crazy? Regardless, the federal government has no business giving direction or orders to the national news media. In fact, on Friday, exactly, they shouldn't even. If it's not illegal, it's inappropriate and improper, and it's an ethics violation for sure. The White House has committed an ethics violation, and it's not just Joe Biden. He didn't write that. It's the machine, man. They're all doing it. And they're on board, they're signed up, they're paid, they're good to go. They're locked in. Fuck the American people. We're in charge. I am the captain now. In fact, on Friday, the Biden administration got its hand slapped hard by federal appeals court for its interference with social media companies and its attempt to suppress views of COVID-19 that it didn't like, as well as negative coverage of both Biden and his son Hunter. U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals rules that the White House coerced platforms like Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, through intimidating messages and threats of adverse consequences to keep certain information off their sites. That equates to the government silencing the free speech of citizens. Yeah, where's the charges for that, Who's accountable for that? No one. In the new memo, the White House warns process stories that fail to unpack the illegitimacy of the claims on which the House Republicans are basing all their actions on only serve to generate confusion, put false premises in people's feeds, and obscure the truth. Think of the impeachment inquiry what you wish, but if anyone is trying to generate confusion and obscure the truth, it's not Republicans, it's the Biden administration. I disagree with that. It's the whole government. Stop fucking. I can't believe that people that are supposed to be smart, and this is their fucking job, are saying this bullshit and believing that there's still a separation. That aisle only exists for the public view. As soon as C-SPAN cameras turn off, they're all going to the same donor meetings. They're all getting donations at these charity balls and fundraiser donations from $50,000 tables and all this bullshit from the same pools of money. None of them are too good to take Apple's money. None of them are too good to take Google's money. None of them are too good to take anybody's money, as long as they can get away with it. They do have to be a little bit careful about who they're associated with if they want people to continue to believe that they care about anything or they have any values or virtue to stand on left. They have to have that illusion, but otherwise they will take money from absolutely anyone who will give it. Appeals court scales back order squelching. Really? September 8th. Wow. Slapped hard. I don't understand. This is the exact opposite. $75 opinions from. Oh, narrowed the scope of the order that was made. Okay, so we're. Oh, okay, we're narrowing. I'm so confused. The court threw out broader language in an order that a Louisiana-based federal judge issued on July 4th that effectively blocked multiple government agencies from contacting platforms such as Facebook and X to urge content be taken down. Even the court's softened order doesn't take effect immediately. The administration has so they're weakening it already. Friday's ruling came in a lawsuit filed in Northeast Louisiana that accused administration officials of coercing platforms to take down content under the threat of possible antitrust actions or changes to federal law shielding them from lawsuits over their user posts. COVID-19 vaccines, FBI's handling of laptop that belonged to Joe Biden's son Hunter, and election fraud allegation were among the topics spotlighted in the lawsuit, which accused the administration of using threats of regulatory action to squelch conservative points of view. The states of Missouri and Louisiana filed the lawsuit along with a conservative website owner and 4 people opposed to the administration's COVID-19 policy. In posting on X, Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry called Friday's ruling a major win against censorship. In an unsigned 75-page opinion, 3 Fifth Circuit judges agreed with the plaintiffs that the administration ran afoul of the First Amendment by at times threatening social media platforms with antitrust actions or changes to law protecting them from liability. But the court exercised much of the U.S. District Judge Terry Daughtry's broad 14 excised much of the ruling, saying mere encouragement to take down content doesn't always cross a constitutional line. As an initial matter, it's axiomatic that an injunction is overbroad if it enjoins a defendant from engaging in legal conduct. 9 of the preliminary injunctions, 10 prohibitions risk doing just that. Moreover, many of the provisions are duplicative of each other and thus unnecessary, Friday ruling said. The ruling also removed some agencies from the order: National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency in the State Department. The case was heard by judges Jennifer Walker Elrod and Edith Brown Clement, nominated to the court by former President George W. Bush, and Don Willett, nominated by President Donald Trump. Doughty was nominated to the federal bench by Trump. So, if the federal government is going to contact these agencies and encourage content to be taken down, it should be done in some sort of a transparent manner. Because while I kind of agree that certain things the government asking for certain things to be taken down is not a violation, it is a conflict of interest, and certain companies that want government contracts or have government dealings, like a Tesla or something like that, where the same person owns X, and if they don't have a very strong backbone, the SpaceX government contracts, and then he also owns now Twitter or X. If you don't have a very strong backbone, someone exerting pressure on you for things that are on your social media company's platform, maybe they're like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to renew your SpaceX contract. I mean, Jeff Bezos, man, he's really good at, just shutting up and laying at our feet like a good dog, and you're not so good at it. So maybe his Blue Origin rocket is the new preferred one, unless you want to take some shit down for us. So it should be transparent. If they're going to go to these media companies and ask for things to be taken down, there should be a Freedom of Information Act accessibility. I mean, it should be publicly released. Like, just combat the bad information with good information. Go on these platforms and post. If it's bad information, have a government account that's going around and posting correct information with sources. Otherwise, you're just asking for truth to be taken off the internet. And that's corrupt as fuck. Ah, man. This fucking kills me. I'll put these court put this there. So these links will be included. And this is the last thing we're going to look at. So, we did a hostage trade with Iran, and we gave them $6 billion to Iran. You know? What the fuck? I'll just read it. Let's get this straight. We did a hostage trade with Iran. We gave them 5 very tough, smart people that they desperately wanted. We likewise got 5 people back, but we also gave them $6 billion. How much of a kickback does crooked Joe Biden get? Does anyone realize how much $6 billion is? When I was president, I got back 58 hostages for zero money. Remember Pastor Brunson? It sets a terrible precedent. Republicans call out the 25th Amendment now. Biden is incompetent. It is... that is a lot of money to be sending for 5 hostages. That's over $1 billion a hostage. That's crazy money. You're doing an even trade. It's not like we didn't give them any. We should have either said $6 billion or the 5. That's it. You want 5 people or you want $6 billion? $6 billion. Holy fuck. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you would like me to do a deep dive into this 573-page document that outlines the Biden laptop, breaks it down, just leave it in the comments. Let me know, and I will be more than happy to go through and read through this and pull out some of the most relevant stuff, some of the most egregious things, and put that together for you. So I hope you enjoyed this. I love you guys to death. Thank you for paying attention to this type of stuff. Thank you for being involved in the conversation. I am trying to highlight information and get it out there for people to see. And I really appreciate the support and the concern of fellow Americans for the future of our country. So take care, and I will see you guys in the next one.